Yep.
Guilty by
We'll be fine.
association.
We'll figure it out.
Is there nobody in the chat right now?
And we're live. Nobody's in the chat yet.
Jeff
Welcome
McGovern
to
isn't even here yet.
Wow.
Should we just go back downstairs?
First podcast in a minute. Huh, guys? Looks
Is
like
it?
nobody missed us.
That must be why no one's here. They're like, oh,
Wow.
oh, it's done
Are we
now.
sure we're live?
Yes,
Yeah, is there people viewing?
there are 10 people here.
10 people viewing. Thank you.
There they are.
Hey, someone other than Jeff was first.
Wow.
Arcane Shadows
Well,
here. There we
well,
go.
here's my hurricane shot of my homeboy. My guy.
I guess we can jump right into it. We're talking about maintenance today.
Probably because we didn't have a podcast for 2 weeks because someone didn't feel like doing it for 2 weeks. So.
Wow, thanks for joining
Well,
the conversation.
1 week it was broken. So,
Are you
It was user error.
saying something?
We
right now?
just talked about this.
I'm sorry I wasn't here for that.
No.
You were.
Anyway.
I wasn't here for that show.
Okay. Round 4.
yep. Been waiting since 2:45. Wow.
He's good. We did Dungeons and Dragons players are on time for that kind of stuff. Stuff we
Oh,
want to
yeah.
wait for. So,
Yep. Except for one of them that was 3 minutes late today.
There we go.
I was one.
You had to bring it up. I wasn't going to
One.
say it, but
I was one. Hey, it's either I go to the bathroom up here with you guys standing here, or I go to the bathroom down there. Make
Okay.
your choice.
It's fair. Fair. Now, when Eric came up with the idea for this, or came up with the topic for this podcast, I thought, that's a pretty good one, and we've got a good range of people.
Yep.
To discuss the maintenance at the different levels, because the maintenance on Honey Badger is not the same as the maintenance on the Echo.
yeah, you do your oil changes every, 6 miles?
6-7 miles. Yeah, right around there.
Self-oil changes.
Legitimately, around 5 to 7 miles.
Yeah,
Which,
the Echo's good. for
When
like
you
20.
phrase it like that, it's like, whew.
That's
And
what I
it's
want.
$60 an oil change.
Yep, that it is.
Why?
Because I don't run cheap stuff in that car.
Oh,
Race car stuff.
it's not extra capacity though, right?
No,
Stock capacity,
it's $10 a quart.
race oil.
Race stuff. Race car stuff.
But still runs. So
Yep. Cheap insurance.
yeah. In the grand scheme of things, I can do $60 oil changes. That's fine.
Well, guys, so to give a full talk about what we're doing, so, regular car maintenance is something that a lot of people kind of look over. We get a lot of customers that come to us and say, hey, I just got this car. What should I do first? 9 times out of 10, the first thing we're going to tell you is, have you done your maintenance? Most people are like, oh, no, there's a clunking in the right front, and then the car blows out black smoke and white smoke all the time.
It just needs a tune, though.
Yeah, it just needs a tune. I was going to start modding. Like, no, please don't do that first. Even though I do
Only
roll-
misfires if you give it more than half throttle. So
I'm sure you can tune around that. I've had cars show up for street tunes that I've gone down the alley, turned around, and came back and said, no, come back when it has brakes that work.
Yeah. I mean,
And just the fact that someone, you couldn't have driven the car and not realized the brakes were very bad. And they thought they could come have the power turned up.
yeah, you know what this needs? It needs to be faster.
more power.
You just got to go before you need to stop, I guess.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we're talking about today, guys. So, I mean, I say let's start it off. Then we
Common maintenance by platform?
Yeah, I was going to say something like, what is a more, let's just use, say you're getting in your mod car, your first thing. So say you three were buying a car. You just bought a used car, 45,000, 60K miles on it, somewhere up in there.
Let's say it has 100,000 miles.
Sure.
Most of these
Yeah.
cars do at this
Yeah.
point.
Say we're
so
not all rich. Jeez.
Wasn't trying to say
45,000
that.
miles. What?
Jesus. But yeah.
Showroom new.
So yeah, like, what do you guys think? So what would be the first kind of things you guys would check out or do on a car that you just bought that has 100K on the clock?
Because you're not going to get any records anymore. People don't keep those. If you do, you can't trust them.
Yeah.
So, like, go into every used car assuming nothing's done.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yep.
A lot of times, just to kind of add on to that, I hear a lot say, hey, I bought this car from this guy, but that car went through another owner, and she said that you had your tune on it. And I'm like,
A lot could have changed since
A lot
then.
could have changed. Like, well,
Yeah.
does it still have this? Well, it runs not. It doesn't run very well. Okay, well, does it have a sticker on it? What's the red line? Like, oh, I don't know what it has on it. I'm like, well, you got to kind of look into it to see what it has.
That's another thing with buying a car is, like, I was thinking in a vacuum of buying a stock car. but you rarely don't anymore. You buy a already messed with car,
Especially in our
and that's
mod
a
markets.
whole bucket of fears.
Yeah.
First thing I would do, regardless of car, is an oil change.
Yep.
Because that's going to tell you right off the bat whether they cared at all.
Well, and get it on jack stands and look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure
Sometimes that's
nothing's
all you can do
loose.
is just look at it.
Jesus.
If you didn't when you test drove it, I guess. But
Why you asking what would you do when you're looking at it? I mean, you just bought a used car, so what the
Yeah, I
kind
was
of
gonna
first
say
thing?
looking at one or buying one. This first thing I did was
Yeah.
brought it in here, change
Help.
the downpipe, change the oil, spark plugs. What else did I do?
did like 6 mods on it before
Yeah,
you drove
technically
it.
I bought it sight unseen, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
completely. But yeah, I mean, oil obviously is the biggest one. Check the oil, change the oil, and spark plugs, and then put a downpipe and a tune on it. And
I
that's
suppose-
actually, well, I mean, if you think about it, so I've got the Sonic. If I daily drive the Sonic, you gotta check the catch can. You always gotta change the oil sooner on that car. Like, there's a million things that I probably have to do on that car as opposed to the ATS. So there's like, you have your, one or the other.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's probably worth pulling the valve cover, too, if you're going through the trouble of changing the oil. Because they could have just changed it right before you bought it.
Yeah, touche.
But if they had been neglecting it beforehand, the inside of the engine is going to show that.
Oh yeah. Oh
some
yeah.
some cars you can just take the cap off and see a little bit of a peak, but
Yeah, I mean, that's a good first step, because if it's really bad, you're going to see it right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's so yeah. So you're saying oil changes, right away. That's the first thing you do if you bought this car and everything. So
spark plug is a good one.
yeah, spark
Ashley
plug.
said.
Yeah, spark plug's a good one. We've seen a lot of times where a lot of people don't. They're gapped they're all 4 different gaps. I've
seen that.
literally went to go look at a car before. One gap was at 25, another one was at 45, another one was at 52, and another one was at 32. So
No problems
they're
there.
all 4. I'm like, that doesn't look that great. So look, there is there's people in here.
Oh,
Nice,
yeah.
Kate.
Jesus.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, that doesn't
Okay.
sound like a dream, but
Oh boy. Oh boy. But yeah, so I mean, so in general, that stuff you do now. What about mod cars? Like we talk about this a lot. Like cars that, depending on the level of modification, are definitely going to require more and more and more maintenance as you go on.
Yeah.
But kind of like you said, the difference in the maintenance in the Honey Badger making really high horsepower passes is a lot different than Trevor's supercharged Echo. That brake pads and rotors cost both like $10 for all 4.
Yeah, I mean, one dyno session, I might go through 5 sets of plugs.
Yeah, that is, and that's the reality that people don't see. I feel like a lot of people have the need for speed thing. Like you make power, then you just make it forever, and you keep making it.
No, it's constant maintenance.
Yeah.
Every single time I do anything with that car, there's some type of maintenance that has to happen.
Why don't you kind of take us through that? Let's talk about maintenance on a highly modified Ecotech. Like,
also you can touch on too, because I never knew this before starting here, is dyno tuning is a lot of wrenching. Like I always
Yeah.
assumed it was sitting in the car doing, but it's like 50% wrenches hood open, 50% driving. Like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
touch on that
especially
too.
on a car at the level that mine is, because there's just so many things that have to be checked and maintained. The plugs don't go bad so fast. It's that you can't get a good reading from a plug. You can't get a useful reading from a plug if you've done 40 dyno pulls on it, or it's been in the car for 20,000 miles, because what you're looking at is more of an average of its lifespan. So, and this is something that I'm still working on and getting and learning more about, because reading plugs on alcohol fuels is a lot different than a lot of the guides you'll find on the internet about reading a plug that's run on a gas engine. But I will put a brand new set in, make a pull that brand new set out, so that I can look for witness marks of things that happened during that pull. But once you've done that, then the plugs look that way. So if I want to change something and actually see the change, a new set has to go in. So they're not necessarily junk. If there are some really good looking ones, I may keep them and run them later.
Yeah.
Once I know the tune's dialed in. But like that's an annoying expense that goes along with having a car at that level. Like we mentioned, it literally gets oil changes every 5 to 7 miles.
It's It's a good thing we work on 4 cylinders, huh?
Yeah, I
Well,
guess.
Well, now, and guys, I do want to preface that by saying, so the Honey Badger does not drive on the street. These are hard 6 or 7 miles.
Yeah.
Like this is like, that was 2 or 3 half-mile passes, and then you pull it over, change plugs, oil, stuff like that.
Usually I do oil change before every big event. I'll do a chain tensioner before every big event. So the chain tensioner also is only getting, 5 to 7 miles on it before I put a new one in.
Chain tensioners, little shout
Oh,
out.
that's funny.
Oh yeah, to our
Anyone
guide.
we
How
got a
about
new
the-
guide?
the
Yeah.
new guide?
Oh, yeah, the new guide.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my next engine, I'm going to put one of those in.
Me too.
I had my current one together, obviously, long before we came out with that. But I'm very excited about that upgraded guide. The material's so much better than what the stock's made out of.
So hopefully that will save a lot of people's timing setups over in the
Yeah.
next few years. So
But to wrap up the live constant maintenance on my car, the trans fluid gets changed fairly often because I have 2 different transmissions that I run in the car depending on whether I'm doing quarter mile or half mile. So you kind of have to change the fluid when that comes out.
Yep.
And just checking all the bolts, that's something that takes a lot of time.
Yep.
So every time I'm going to the track, I'm checking the cradle bolts, control arm bolts, the wheel lugs, just everything, just due to the amount of load that the entire drivetrain is under in that car.
Yeah.
If things are going to come loose, it's going to happen quicker on that.
That's something I think a lot of people miss, especially doing suspension mods. Like, you really should drive it for a week and then recheck everything you touched. Because that stuff just rattles all the time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm constantly tweaking things, so things are coming loose. Like I'm taking things loose and reinstalling them. So there's always something on the car that I need to check and make sure it's good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's really good. Adam Project, we have a Ecotech upgraded ZZPerformance made timing chain guide. It's on our website in our camshaft and valve train section, or maybe in the engine section as well. It is something that we hope to start saving people's timing guides. Or
It's
timing
green.
chains with.
You can't miss it.
It is green. You cannot miss it. And it's pretty well priced. And your next timing setup, do it. You won't regret it. Actually, Al, LT1 is slow. It's too slow for you. That's actually a good question because we get a lot of people that will take the plugs out. Oh, my plugs are bad. It's just because they're a little black or have a little bit white on them, depending on what fuel they're running. Why don't you talk about
I
that?
see that question.
Yeah, why don't you talk about that real quick? Straight from the tuner's mouth.
I'm trying to make this as simple as I can.
Yes.
The annealing burned back on the ground strap is going to give you a ballpark indication of whether your peak ignition timing is in a good range or not. The higher it is, the farther that annealing will be burnt back towards the threads. If it gets all the way down to the threads, then shortly after that is when it falls off and causes problems. So if your annealing is all the way up at the edge, then you're probably not running enough timing. But you also will look at the porcelain, look for fuel deposits, look for aluminum deposits, because when you get detonation or pinging, you will have microscopic bits of aluminum that transfer from the piston to the porcelain of the plug. So if you pull a plug out and it looks like a disco ball, that metal came from somewhere, and it's no longer part of your piston.
Yeah.
Now, on the fuel side of things, I'm still in the process of learning what my car needs. There are people out there far more experienced than me when it comes to reading the fueling on plugs. My best advice there would be pull up a couple YouTube videos of people that specialize in that. I know enough to know what I'm doing. I'm not well enough educated in that to be a good teacher yet.
There you go.
On a regular fueling note, just made me think of it. All Delta cars, fuel line filter. Just do it.
Oh,
Like-
God, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. No
They're
ifs,
just
ands.
so bad. Just do the full kit.
Well, another,
We can. That's a good transition into like one of the areas I wanted to go with this. Like, so let's say just LSJ. You bought an LSJ.
Specifically,
What
what are the
is
problems?
you have done your basic checks. You've done your test drive. You know it's not going to fall apart. So now you've got at home. What's the list of things you do?
Yep.
Fuel filter.
Yep.
Because no one ever changes them. Man, you'll have a car that you'll tune and everything seems fine, and they put a new fuel filter on, and bam, it's a full point rich at full throttle now, because they never even knew that it was dirty.
I back and guess number two.
Timing chain.
I was going to say intercooler pump.
Well, yeah, that's right up there.
That might be number one.
That might be number one.
Because the intercooler pump on the LSJ car specifically, I'll say 80% of the ones that have come in here are new owners are like, hey, your intercooler pump isn't working, right? Oh, it's not? No.
I would say just under half of the new remote tune customers that I get have a dead intercooler pump.
There you go.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
And some of them are wired the wrong way and all sorts
of
crazy
the
stuff.
04s and some of the 05s were wired backwards from the factory, so they failed almost instantly.
I mean, they don't like to spin backwards?
Yeah, what? No,
they don't.
So you were going to say, you said fuel filter, intercooler pump, and then timing chain and guide?
Mm-hmm. Timing chain and guides and upgraded bolts.
Oh,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guide bolt that goes in the side of the head.
The tensioner.
Yep. And then we now also have the shoulder style bolts made out of a stronger material so that you can replace the lower guide bolt. There's upgraded bolts that you can use for the tensioner arm. Mm-hmm. I like to use the stronger bolt for that as well.
Mm-hmm. There you go, Dan Brown.
About covers up like the must-have basics of an LSJ. I mean, there's going to be a lot of other random things wrong, but pretty much every LSJ that hasn't been well maintained is going to need those three things.
Yep. I would add shifter.
I mean,
LSJ shifters are all
they're
terrible.
Always blown out.
Yep.
The shifter bushes are
not
always
needed,
real.
but like it's well worth it.
Oh man, now there's definitely a Ryan Derrick version of going through a car.
Yeah.
And then there's a normal version because I mean I was going to stay away from the interior and all the touch points in the car. I was just going to stay away and I'm not going to talk about it unless we'll be here for the rest of the podcast. But
control arm bushings.
Control arm bushings.
They're going to be bad.
Those are always blown out too.
Yeah. Ball joints.
They'll pull a car into the bay and hit the brakes, and you see the wheel shift an inch and a half in the wheel well.
Yep.
Like, that's not supposed to do that.
And even the other suspension components, like most people have blown out struts. You've been driving them for a year. You'll get in there, you hit a button. Like, wait, what? Like, it's not supposed to do that, boys and girls. So.
Your car doesn't have to be bad. You can fix it.
No, it does.
Yeah.
And okay. My usual rant on almost every podcast I'm on. Guys, just because the cars are cheap does not mean you cannot take pride in it. Please. That's my one.
Yeah.
That is my one plea to the Ecotech community, all of our communities. Just because a car is cheap does not mean you have to treat it like crap. Look at the Honda Civic guys. The Honda Civic guys are outdoing this, guys. Just because they get their car and they think that thing is made of gold. So, like, they got new carpet for it, and they're spending $1 bajillion on it just to make it look nice on the inside, make it look reback to stock, and they will reupholster stuff. And they just do all this stuff to make the cars look nice. There's no reason that we can't do the same. Our cars can be nice. There's no reason to not take pride in your car. And don't have your 30-day-old Taco Bell and McDonald's wrappers in it and your Stinky Jim shorts and socks in it from 7 weeks ago. Come on. Not necessary.
Yeah, we've had cars with used underwear on the rear deck.
Yep. Disgusting.
Please don't.
Disgusting.
I don't care so much about how Honey Badger looks, but I care that it does its job well, which requires a certain level of not being an S-Box.
S-Box. This message is held for review. I don't know who that is, but that's funny.
L&F, if we're good on LSJ.
Oh man, L&F. Well, first of all, actually one of the best things at the beginning is a mod is a fuel filter
To add a fuel filter.
because
I thought you were going to go for another one.
No, not quite yet, but I do think that's actually one of my favorite mods because the L&F, it has a little net in the fuel tank, but that's about it.
I treat my Sonic like it's a Lambo.
A strainer.
Yeah, a strainer would be exactly what it is. But sand and debris can flow right through it. No problem. So adding a fuel filter to that helps massively. So guys, please, add a fuel filter to your cars. It really helps. It'll save your DI pumps, save your injectors. It'll do a lot of stuff for you. So that's another one. Number two, it's very similar to the LSJ in a lot of different ways. A lot of same ways. Your timing chain and guide set, just like Al said. Your suspension, your ball joints, and your freaking control arm.
Everything except the intercooler pump
is exactly the same. Yeah. Also, because there was a recent video of a guy called the Dude in Blue, and a personal maintenance thing of mine. Make sure your SS badges are on the right way because it triggers Ryan Derrick when your SS badges are on upside down. The flat part where the S's are connected goes at the bottom, not at the top.
Or when HHRs have Cobalt SS badges. It's another Ryan trigger right there.
That's another Ryan trigger.
And the weird thing about the badges is that you don't even notice that they're asymmetrical until they're wrong.
Yes.
And then it's the most glaringly obvious thing ever.
I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. Because that Dude in Blue did a video on that Cobalt, which that car wasn't too bad, but the SS badge on the side, and I could not see past it for the entire video. Every time it came up, I was like, my brain clicked.
One eye starts twitching.
Yep, every time. What did you think I was going to say, Trevor?
Intercooler.
Oh, yeah. Intercooler is a big maintenance part on that.
It's probably broken.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would change your map sensors and your intercooler because they always all break. Almost all of them. 100% on the LNF. It's a maintenance and a reliability mod, and I love reliability mods. So, those are...
Yeah.
I like what Connor mentioned, though, the valve coking. These cars keep getting older and older and older, and you're going to find some that haven't been touched.
Yeah, that's something. And there's a few different ways you can do that. In fact, this is actually a good idea for multiple DI cars. So we have our LTG on our soon-to-be newer Cruise, and then the LNF platform. How would you recommend cleaning them? There's a few different ways I can think of, but...
I would prefer to see someone do the walnut blasting method.
Yep.
Works very well when done properly.
Keyword there.
Properly.
Yes, I have also seen people not do it properly and get those walnut shells everywhere. I have seen some cars that are so coked up, though, that, man, I don't know if the walnut shells are going to get through it.
Yeah.
And in that case, your only option really is putting a different head on it.
Yeah. Yeah, which can be maintenance in itself. There was a video of a BMW, actually, a DI BMW, that a guy owned the car since new. Yeah, and he owned the car since new. We really should find this article to redo it, at least put it up for people to see. But what he did was he downed the car. The car remained stock. It's a Tyler, but he downed the car every year at the same time every year with similar, similar setups. So there'd be no variables. And the car consistently over the years lost power. Cleaned it up in the valves and stuff, all the power came back. So that's something that it needs to be shown.
Yeah. Now, if it's the
Atom project, I've seen a couple of people do that. That would be something I'd like to do.
Oh yeah, I have
cool.
seen those. We could make those.
We have the technology.
We do. We should do that.
Jesus.
Note that. On the maintenance note, though, the fifth injector then in this scenario becomes a preventative maintenance.
Or, and a shout out, we have a brand new, nice and fancy ATS LTG or LTG auxiliary fueling kit that we just came out with yesterday. If you LTG guys want to go fast, get it.
Yeah.
Right there. And also, it's going to help keep your valves clean.
That's what I was also going to ask because everyone with a DI car is terrified of valves. Most of the time when they hear about it.
Don't be scared.
What are the preventative maintenances to not get your valves all gunked up?
Well,
not having a DI car. You LSJ swap it.
You don't want to downgrade the car now.
It's going to keep the valves clean.
It would keep the valves clean, but you'd be slower. I say what I said. But, unfortunately, it's a DI thing because usually in most Portage cars you have fuel cleaning the valves off. So it's just going to happen. But our fifth injector kits, meth kits, which I still don't suggest, but all things auxiliary fueling and stuff will clean off the valves.
Yeah, meth kits will help, but I don't.
And I'm not recommending them usually, but it's just one of the things. If you're looking specifically to keep it clean, that will be the way. Specifically, though, fifth injector auxiliary fuel kit.
Now, another thing that you can do, as I saw someone mention the PCV can, you can reroute the PCV, but it's not the simplest thing to do.
Not LNF.
Can't really. Well, I guess there's a way you could do it on LSJ. But for the LNF, it requires modifying the intake manifold so that you can intercept the PCV passage, run it through a sealed oil separator, and then return the remaining blow-by vapors to the intake manifold. And this is going to significantly extend the amount of time it takes for the oil buildup to actually coke onto the valve.
It does not. It doesn't stop it.
But it will significantly slow it down.
Yes, I'll say 80 to 90% slow it down.
Putting a catch can on the nipple that comes out of the back of the valve cover does not do anything useful.
Yep.
The side of the PCV that causes this issue is the direct PCV passage from the head flange on the intake side of the head directly into the intake manifold.
Yep. Doth agree. Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about that, regular maintenance on cars, making sure to tighten stuff up before and after drives. Also, I feel like a big thing that is ignored a lot is just fixing problems and don't let them constantly sit there.
Yeah. I thought about that briefly before the podcast because all of us to some degree, but some of us to a much higher degree are very bad about that.
Yes. Because
it's part of the mod car guy mentality.
Yep.
Yes, and I feel like all of us to an extent, but like
cars do this thing where they like tell you when they're gonna break.
Yeah,
usually
they usually give you a sign.
You have a warning.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that like, hey, this clunk is getting worse and worse in the rear. Just ignore it.
I think Ashley's probably the best out of us at that.
Ashley is very sensitive to noises.
Ashley notices things.
Yes.
One of us can drive a car for a year and think it's fine, and then she'll drive it and have a list of 10 things, and then you go out and get in the car, and it's like,
I guess, yeah.
Gang, she's right.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice all this stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I am.
But it's a very useful skill.
It is, because I am one of the people that just like, it's a race car. I deal with it. Clunks and sounds and stuff. I deal with it. It just happens. Like weird stuff happens in the car when I'm driving. I deal with it. It happens. And so I'll drive a car with a year with this stuff in, and yeah, I won't notice it. But someone, used to race cars.
Like the blue car had sprung a coolant leak, a small one, and I just whatever, top it off, top it off, and then one morning I'm topping it off, and I've put a half a gallon in.
When does small become medium?
This is not a good choice. And all it needed was a coolant elbow.
Yeah, speaking of coolant leaks, Sonics?
Yeah, they like to do that.
Hold on, I do have to, I have to stop. Someone says, Robert says, love how you don't interact with us.
What are we doing right now?
Yeah. Robert, we're literally going through and answering some of the questions. We can't answer every single question that comes through, man, but we are doing our best to talk with people as they come through. So, sorry that you're afraid we're interacting, but we're doing our best, but we can't answer everything.
Anyway.
Yeah. Just have to call that out.
Anyway, Sonics.
Sonics, you were talking about?
Sonic, we can go back to the beginning and do the maintenance items. So when you buy a Sonic, you're going to have to do something with the intake manifold because the PCV is going to be broken.
And or the valve cover.
And
buy the ZZP PCV fix kit so you never have problems again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the PCV kit for the Sonic was designed to work regardless of whether your valve inside of the manifold is blown or not.
Yes.
Because even if you put a new stock intake manifold on, it is going to fail again.
Mm-hmm. That's why the ported one is a good upgrade and to replace your OEM one, but the PCV fix is the ultimate fix. You did it, you get it, you don't have to keep replacing those common problems over and over again. So that's something that we could, you can always do.
What else is common with the
Coil
Sonic?
pack!
Oh, yeah.
Coil pack!
Good call there. I forgot about that.
I didn't. So, yeah, the 1.4 coil pack, guys, that is a very common issue that these cars have. Stock ones mess up. And, sometimes aftermarket ones do, but, that's why the aftermarket ones have warranties on them. And, on the science, you could even say changing out your turbo is a warranty. You can technically say that.
Well,
I mean, or not warranty, maintenance.
Yeah.
Because the stock...
Okay, that's fair when it comes to Sonic.
That's specifically why I said the Sonic. Because the stock ones crack, they break all the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the stock turbos are just not that good on those cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many
of them have
did your car go through? Like 3 or 4 stock turbos? It went through
I don't know if I even had one on there long enough to do it, but I know downstairs, Reed. He's pretty sure his is cracked already.
Yeah. Well, they're all cracked.
Yeah.
It's just you don't know about it until
starting
it
to
cracks all the
actually
way
fail,
through.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They start getting a little laggy because it cracks between the wastegate and the main scroll.
Oop.
Yeah.
We're going to give that one a old oop, oop, oop.
It's a good excuse though, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, 'cause if you think about it, you're just going to replace it with a stock one. Same thing's going to happen again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So you might as well get a
upgrade it.
Z04.
Or
It's just-
V3.
It's just the smarter
Nah.
choice.
Go
you
It's
know?
just a smart.
Let's go big right off the bat.
So what are you? They need an intercool. We've seen the cruise video.
It
By the way,
gained
guys.
power.
By the way, guys, we are currently working on a new one, a new cruise video right now. Eric behind the camera should have one out in the next few days. And yeah, you'll see the next thing. But I mean, just as a little tidbit, the Z04 picked up a lot of power with an intercooler. A lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Dan, can you
I-
expand on
I
what you mean by spark
definitely-
cut? There's a few different things I was thinking you could have meant there.
Yes. So that's something.
On Ashley Sonic, rear main seals. I think that's pretty common on the Sonics. too.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
The remains
A
sales, unfortunately.
secondary problem of the PCV issues.
Yes.
They're kind of
But
like little baby BMWs. Coolant leaks, oil leaks. They're just
They're
kind
just
of
marking their territory.
sludgy. Yeah.
Sludgy. Get out of here, guy. Yeah. Also, honestly, I think the shifter bushing, the main, not the ones in the shifter, but the
Oh.
actual one in the engine bay, I think that is actually a pretty good maintenance mod because the stock one is plastic and it's all blown out most of the time. So yeah, it's pretty good. So Arcane Shadows, $8 for maintenance. I mean, hey, you can make a day out of it. Come visit Grand Rapids, go do Grand Rapids stuff, and come see us. I mean, I don't know, dog. You and me can maybe do a one shot or something. Roll some dice. You know what I'm saying?
We can
I guess
probably
it's going to
find
be more than a day out of it, but yeah, I get the point.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Weekend out of it.
Weekend,
Yeah.
Jesus.
we can find a couple days worth of maintenance to do it.
Oh, yeah. If
Every
you need
time, man.
Give us a list of what you don't have.
Yeah, we can find the maintenance and the upgrades for that stuff, man. Oh, so Robert says, you guys really talk about the 2.0 LTG. Is that because not too many people have them and are trying to do stuff trying to stuff in engine? I have an automatic transmission that I just got customized. We talked about the LTG quite a bit. We just had a video not too long ago about them.
We're just talking about the.
We just talked about the auxiliary fuel
car.
kit.
Yep.
Yeah, her car.
2 people in this room drive one every day.
Yep, I drive my ATS literally every day.
I mean, really, if we're comparing market size, I think they get a disproportionately large amount of attention.
Yeah.
But that could, just to add to some of the context he was adding there about the number of people having them. Like, I don't know the production numbers off the top of my head, but I know the sales numbers of the various platforms. And LTGs are slow. They still do well, but not as well as Sonic and Ecotech. And so that's, as a good business decision, that's what's going to get a lot of attention. But we're still constantly working on the LTG stuff, like they were saying. We just released stuff now.
Yeah, and it's a pretty huge thing for the LTG guys to make power with. As far as maintenance, I'll talk about LTG maintenance. Number one, maintenance is, unfortunately, when you have LTGs that go through a few owners, you're kind of almost rolling the dice, almost. Because
Especially if it's a 13.
Especially if it's a 13, because the person before you's running 87, doing top speed runs every now and then, you're going to have a blown up engine real soon. Because the weird thing LTGs do is they'll break a ring land, but not break right away. You'll drive for like another 1,000 miles and they'll be fine. And all of a sudden, boop, you're just cruising along and all of a sudden something happens to them. But maintenance wise, I would, do an oil change specifically on them and do like Mobile One ESP oil in them. That's number one. What's nice is outside of that kind of stuff, besides going in real deep, make sure there's good plugs in it, either OEM AC Delcos or some Denso ITV 24s. And then they have some other small issues here. Make sure there's no trans shutter if you have an auto car. They had a torque converter shutter in the first few years. It's not
Stay on top of your oil changes.
Big
That's one thing that I
And
make
use the
sure
right
I
oil.
do. Yeah.
I used to argue with people about this, but these newer DI cars, you need to use appropriate oil for them.
Correct, 100%. Because if you don't, it's going to be bad times for those cars, especially LTG. And a preventative maintenance thing is don't do top speed runs, please. The stock LTGs do not like it.
If you had a 13 on 87, it would not complete a single top speed run.
No, it would blow up 100%. But, even the later ones, still not a good idea. So some people say, "Oh, I've done a bunch of top speed runs." Yeah, you may be rolling the dice. You may be on someone else's borrowed time.
Like,
please don't.
We've gotten to the point where there is a significant amount of potential in the LTG platform, but it is absolutely the LNF and LSJ absolutely have a very big head start.
Yes, very
when
big
it
head
comes
start.
to mod for mod,
and they're cheaper too. So you can usually get that. So in general, things like that, when you're starting off with them, that's pretty much it. Your oil, do your oil changes. Get good oil in there. No top speed runs. Get your, if you hear any clunking or any time, please address it right away before you start modding them because the LTG is already sensitive. And then from there, you make sure there's good fuel in the car because if there's not, if someone's on before he's running 87 or 89, get it out of there. Don't beat on it. Run 91 plus only, preferably 93 if you can find it.
Connor, as far as plug brands, I just want to knock that one out real quick.
Sure.
It's, from my point of view, what you're running into is more so a brand loyalty or brand preference, or people talking about what they know have worked in the past. That is slightly different than saying nothing else could work. So at least like with our platform cars, we have certain plugs. There are some engines we like AC Delco. There's some engines that we like NGK in. And it's not a brand preference. It's a
platform
preference. Know that this plug in this engine on this setup does what it needs to do.
Correct.
Could there be 40 other plugs that could do the job? Possibly. But when you have one that works exactly the way you need it to, you're not going to put 40 other plugs in just to see what other good ones there are.
Yep.
That's also why we have a write-up on our website.
Yep.
Correct.
I can't tell you how many times I link that website a day.
So, and that's and kind of answer Connor's question too. The LNF, a lot of people will say that, but they don't know the platform. And I'm just gonna be straight up with it. We have a lot of people say, "Oh, I took my car, my local buddy is dyno tune stuff. He has 1,000 horsepower Corvettes." Well, sorry guys, just because your guy owns 1,000 horsepower Corvette, these engines are different. So that doesn't mean that they know the platform as well as, let's say, we or anyone who specializes in these cars specifically do. We will always tell you run OEM AC Delcos in those cars. We technically though, you can run the Denso ITV24s actually do work pretty good on LNFs. So that's two plugs.
But
really.
like the most power we've ever made on an LNF was on stock plugs.
Stock plugs.
The stock plug in an LNF is used in a ton of OEM Ecotech applications, and it is a very, very good plug.
Yes. So you don't necessarily
It's
need.
not like they're expensive, so.
No, not really. They tend to last pretty good. So
yeah, and I personally have a preference towards coppers. I think a lot of that is just because I change my plugs often because I like to see what's going on inside of the engine, and they're way cheaper.
Yeah, you don't want to run iridiums, not in your car.
No, you ever try to gap iridiums?
They suck.
It is a pain in the butt. It's more like tink, 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 because you can't undo it.
You can't undo it once it's overcompensated. But yeah, like the LNF specifically, they just run better. Like if someone called, I had a new Sky owner 2 weeks ago. Hey man, I just got this car. The car is great. It's misfiring like crazy. I just put new plugs in. I said, what plugs you put in there? Oh, NGK. Take my put AC Delcos in. Call me back when you do it. Okay, I'll go do it right now. Call me back a day later. Man, this car runs great now. And he just put new NGKs in there. So it like
Dan, yes, you can send a log.
So
I'm always more than willing to look over logs with someone and help diagnose things.
Absolutely.
It's one of our many services we offer.
And why we always tell people to buy HP tuners.
Yes.
HP tuners is a huge thing.
How about that for a maintenance item?
You're right.
It kind of is. Yeah, HP tuners itself is a great diag tool. With someone who knows what to do with the data,
even if you don't, just scan it and then send it to us. Like, if you're tuned with us, you can always send us a log.
Yeah.
Always. Something's happening. It's the first thing I ask people. Do you have HP tuners?
Yeah.
Send us a log.
It really helps with maintenance, and it really cracks down on the problem instead of doing a lot of guesswork. Al can tell you if there's something wrong with your map sensor, if you have a leak somewhere, if it's, or whatever's happening with your car just by looking at a log of the car. Excuse me. It helps a lot with maintenance and
Huge.
to know.
Yeah.
If someone
So
says
it truly makes the diagnosing process so much faster.
yeah. And then even if you say, no, I checked there's no vacuum leaks. Well, the data in your car says that's wrong, and that's what you go by.
Well, here's 2 logs, and the tune didn't change, but your trims went 20% positive, only at idle. So you just haven't found the vacuum leak yet.
And then 3 weeks later, oh, yeah, I found it. It was right here in a really stupid spot. Sorry for doubting you. And it's every freaking time.
Now, numbers can mislead you, but they don't lie.
Yeah. So, I suppose we haven't talked about it yet. 3800s. Good maintenance times to do on those things.
Transmissions.
God dang it, Trevor. So, guys, a good idea for 3800 maintenance
is F40 swap.
No, stop. Bo isn't
The
here.
transmissions are broken from the factory.
Yeah, Bo can't defend himself.
Bo can't defend himself right now. Mr. Kish, don't worry about this guy.
Oh, he's listening.
Oh, you know he is. Good maintenance items to do right away on 3800s. Number one, actually, I say intake gaskets. Number one, intake gaskets are always have problems on those cars, whether it be NA or supercharged. That's a very good one to do. A thermostat is a small, very cheap. It's $10 plus shipping. That's a good one that helps cars to run better. And they go there. You can also get new gaskets for that. You can get both the housing and the O-ring gasket. Both very, very, very good to do on the 3800s. As well as your aluminum coolant elbows. The coolant elbows crack on these things all the freaking time.
Yep.
Get your aluminum coolant elbows done. They're super cheap as well. We sell them on the website. Another big maintenance problem. Oil change is another big one too. And then for probably the next one, I'd probably look at just kind of round it off to a 5 or whatever it is. So the intake gaskets, stuff like that. I'd probably just give it a once over and check for like leaks. There's a lot of vacuum leaks and exhaust leaks with these cars.
I was gonna say that's our oldest platform by a lot.
Yes.
Check all the old stuff.
Yes.
Rubber, bushings, hoses, lines. Like
Yes.
it's getting to that point where they're all just gonna kind of fail after 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh, plug wires. Because no one ever does
Plug wires, yep, the
No
plug
one ever
wi-
does the recall.
Please, guys, too, be careful about changing out the ICMs. If you have a working one, keep it and keep nice to it because ICMs, they seem to all on the plan to be bad. So, yeah. So, no boost controllers for maintenance.
Hey, I mean, let's hear him out.
That's not maintenance. Not at all.
Nitrous to keep the valves clean?
Oh, my God.
I'm on board.
No. Hey, John, F-23s do work, but they are significantly weaker than the F-40. If you can swing like a G6 F-40 setup on those cars, on 3800 or something like that, that is the way to go. The F-40 can handle a bajillion more power than F-23s. F-23s are just cheap and plentiful.
They do okay on the Cobalts, but I don't have any personal experience with them in the 3800s other than seeing Tyler's at one time.
We had a customer, Terrell, actually put an F-23 and he busted it.
Oh, yeah.
He broke it real bad, unfortunately.
Oops.
Yeah, but F-23 stuff,
On the plus side, he can get into one very cheap.
Yes, he
Or
can.
a used one.
Yes,
But
yes, he can. What else? What other cars we forget? I know we have more platforms, but
I think we can kind of shift into that's kind of what they need all the time.
Yeah.
So now we're all mod people, and now we have modified cars that maybe it's bolt-ons, maybe it's full turbo swaps, but we want to also race them. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the new maintenance?
Oh, for all cars, every set of cars, good tires and suspension.
I see that being in maintenance because half the time we get cars here with bald tires and blown out suspension.
Yes, because guys, mod cars, people really underestimate how much tires help. Tires help braking. Tires help traction, and also if you get into a whoopsie situation, they help save your life.
Well, and then you were talking about brakes. Now, if you're adding stuff, add a little bit of brakes.
Yeah, brakes are not a bad
Maybe
thing at all.
it's a brake upgrade kit, or maybe it's just better pads and rotors than factory.
Yes.
Like,
yes, 100%.
that technology has come so far.
I'm not going to call him out by name, but we recently had a customer that had a Ecotech full build, more than capable of 600, and he had 215 all seasons on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew the engine can very safely handle a proper 600, and he really wanted to see that dyno sheet, and we made it happen, but it was not easy to get it to actually
215s, boys.
hook up.
215s? Come on. Not
Had to use some of that sticky icky spray and dyno straps that you could play a song on.
Is that a fourth gear car right there?
That was a fourth gear car.
That was a fourth gear car for sure. 100%. 100%. Stainless steel brake lines. I think those are great maintenance items.
Oh yeah.
Good call.
I think those are very good maintenance. I love them.
Ooh.
I love the.
Oh, speaking of brake lines, all these GM cars with their fluids, .3, get it out of there.
You could do a .4
That's fair.
upgrade.
Yep.
You could do a .4 upgrade. Most people, I don't know if most people really see the use out of .4 because
No.
it's boiling point stuff.
If you're
I
not
only
road
stop a
coursing.
half mile at a time, but sometimes I got to stop hard. So
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
the upgrade on mine.
I mean, but you're also going 100 bajillion miles an hour.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking in the sense of like, these cars are 20 years old now.
Oh,
you
yeah.
might as well change
You
the
might as
brake
well
fluid.
upgrade it 100%.
Yeah.
You
Put
probably
that
need
for
to do a fluid flush anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Don't put .3 back in because
Yeah, why would you do that?
no negatives to .4. So
Yeah. Yep. Nope. So there's just like the small things, like the ones that are like OEM plus that you can like replace and stuff. Like like
RBF 600.
what? What are you talking about?
Talking about Randall.
No one likes Randy.
Oh, hi, Randy.
I said what I said.
Well, you heard it here first. Sorry, wasn't gonna tell you.
Randy, what's your maintenance advice? Let us
So,
know.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Comment up.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below.
With our
It's got like a 15-second delay anyway.
yeah, it does.
Hey, give him a minute. It's fine.
With our
Maintenance for ATSV. Drive it.
essentially. Oh no. There is maintenance.
There's a couple things.
Plugs, burp your intercooler system.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh,
ATSVs, when it's weird, like because they have that cavitating pump that like when it sends air, it turns itself off.
Which makes no sense
sense.
to me at all.
No, it's
How are
cool.
you ever gonna get the air out if
Yeah.
the pump won't run?
Yeah, it's super cool. I kind of dig them.
Well, talk about a car that tires are required.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were making the joke with Bo the other day that every ATSV that comes in here, we put whatever tires on the back.
We
'cause-
put our AAAs on them, like almost every customer
Yep.
that comes in here. So that burp your intercooler system and put new plugs is always a plug. The gap is too wide from the factory, and they blow the spark out.
You know, the next V that comes in, we need to get a set of those M&H's on the back of it.
Oh, that would be
I think
stinky
they would do
jinkies.
very, very well.
Sticky
I have been
keys.
blown away with how they performed on my car.
Uh,
Yep. Allow.
Yeah, I'm gonna say allow that. Randy's message is held for contempt. Allow it. Yeah. Good luck, homeboy. Good luck getting that, because that's what everyone around here has been trying to do for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Try as hard as you want.
Yep. But yeah, so ATSVs, there's not a lot of maintenance that needs to be done to them, but you know, there's a little bit. There's newer cars. Tesla maintenance, drive it. So moving on.
Yeah.
Charge it.
Yeah, charge it and you're good.
Do they even go through brakes? I was thinking about that the other day.
I think they do the regen. I'm sure the brake pads they would eventually go through.
Depending on driving style.
Yeah.
If you're just like moseying around though, how
I will-
long are those brakes?
so
I
will
gotta say,
say-
if you took like a hypermiler approach to both your acceleration and your stopping, you could probably get many, many years out of brake pads on the Tesla, even though they're heavy.
yeah.
I will say, though, Teslas are probably the number one thing of maintenance is tires, because they make torque like that.
Yep.
So
And they're
you
really
know.
heavy. So
It just
Ding.
It's funny. Randy knows what happened and knows all these things, but
doesn't hold him back.
yeah, that's okay. He can try. That's okay. He doesn't really track his car. He's an autocross king anyway. Slow cars are slow. That's fine.
yeah, it's true. You need to spray it, Randy.
That won't help him. Stuff's still slow.
You just spray it big enough, it will.
Passenger seat all day. That stems from an Orca video that I was sent last night.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez, man.
Oh, is that Eric? Yeah. Okay.
Ryan Clark, that brings cobalt fuel lines are always broken too, and that's why we do have a Delta.
That's another good one.
We got to finish the LNF kit eventually, though, too.
Yeah, we just had an employee in fixing his blown out fuel lines last night.
Yep, pretty much.
Every Delta is going to have that problem eventually.
100%. Randy, this is a specific reason why I'm not coming to see you. It's your reason I'm not going. You are the reason, actually. Specifically you.
Harsh.
Oof.
It's okay. He ain't gonna come hang out with me either. I tried.
No, I would rather hang out with you. I like you. No, I don't. I'm lying.
No, you don't. Like, what? Good luck keeping a straight face.
Well, what's you guys' personal maintenance on your race cars?
Which
Any
one?
special things they take?
Which one?
I'm pretty much covered mine already.
Yep.
Engines, oil.
Yeah, mine is constantly adjusting body stuff when I scrape my diffuser over stuff and getting out of every place on the planet.
You were doing some splitter maintenance.
I was
on
doing
lunch
some splitter
today.
maintenance today because I tried to leave the bank, and the bank has a steep hill. Chase Bank in Granville, Michigan, please fix your exit from your building, because all the things
Is
go
it
like
that low?
oh, it's pretty. Oh yeah.
I've been there several times. I never knew it was that low.
You ain't low if you ain't scraping, girl. Like that thing, it's like this.
Well, I mean, I haven't been there actually since I lowered the ATS, so I wouldn't know.
Oh.
You will scratch. You will. Yeah. So this
Noted.
year.
I have to go tomorrow.
Yeah. Don't go to the one in Granville. Not the one close to the shop.
That was a strikingly accurate noise.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was.
I hear it a lot. The most stressful, and I tell everybody, the most stressful part of my day with the Cobalt is literally getting out of my driveway.
Yep.
Like I have to hit it in the middle, right when the sidewall breaks. You got to turn the wheel all the way to the right.
Oh.
Hard lock, and then slowly back out all the way, and then make sure you don't hit the curb. And then once it's out and you don't hear a scrape, you're good.
The only two people that know what my driveway is like are these two.
Oh
Yeah.
You
that's not
literally
fun.
gotta come in, go sideways, then go up, then go sideways, then go up.
Jesus.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah,
Because
it's
there's like 2 hills. How
Yeah,
does that even
there's two.
happen?
Yeah.
Like
But-
you could take a protractor and measure the angle of the
That's-
driveway to the road. It doesn't swoop up. It's just now.
Now why? No.
yeah.
But yeah.
I'll go in on 3 wheels in the Sonic.
Ooh yeah.
Although speaking of, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Go
off.
for it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it did.
All that scraping stuff reminded me, like, one of the oversights of the way I built my car was I can't do anything with it when it's in race trim.
Yep.
I can't put it on a lift. I can't put it on a dyno. I can't put
Nope.
it on the trailer.
Nope. For people watching, yes, Randy and I are very good friends, and I heart him. He just hates my.
Nah, screw that guy.
Yes,
like this
keep
guy.
your car washed. That is definitely. They
That
were
is
just
actually-
talking about that on lunch.
That is actually
Overrated.
No.
For Al.
You do not have to be a dirt ball in your car, even if your car is a race car. I tell you this all the time.
Yeah.
Wash it.
I don't have to because it bugs Trevor so much that he washes it.
When's the last time you watched Honey Badger?
I think that was Tyler.
Or Tyler, okay.
Wow. Wow.
It's the tease.
I have a system.
It's because we couldn't put your name on the card, the stickers on the door.
Yeah, the stickers wouldn't stick.
Yeah, because there's a layer of filth
Filthy.
over it.
It-
Stop.
It's got to run before I need to worry about how it looks.
Guess what? You probably would have gone faster if you actually clean it, because dirt is ounces make pounds, right? Dirt is heavy.
It was clean.
No, it wasn't.
It was too.
No, it wasn't.
Uh-huh.
No.
They waterless washed it while we were
Oh
putting it
my
together.
God.
We actually did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it looked presentable.
Cody, my
Yeah.
splitter on the Snowball is not the Velocity Aeroworks one. I had a custom one done by APR. It is full carbon, and it goes way past the pan, so it's a very functional splitter. So it is a custom
Boy.
one with the bumper.
Yes, I like your style, Randy.
Yeah, you guys keep wanting me to get air. Trevor's been trying to
Yeah.
convince me to get air on the Snowball for a long time.
Absolutely should.
Why would you not?
Airlift, if you want to sponsor the Snowball for an airlift kit, or somebody wants to do something, hit me up, ryan.d@ZZPerformance.com.
Randy probably wants to do something. Just give him a couple crispy hundos, send him his way.
Jesus, man.
He'll send you a little something back.
He'll
Maybe
be
if you
here.
went and
Take your
visited
coils off, send them to him.
He'll be
bag
here-
them and revalve them.
He'll be here soon. He'll be here to visit soon. He can
Yeah.
do it soon. But no, I feel
throw
you.
some bags in your suitcase,
Yeah,
and we'll hook up 4 boost controllers.
the Snowball is actually kind of difficult to rack, and that's why I hate racking it. It's like
Air would fix that.
not really. It's gonna all the problems are still there.
No, you just
Well,
It
you
can't
got
go that
new-
high.
the
new
heck it
pucks and
can't.
stuff.
I guess it can. What?
The new pucks and stuff. You got?
No, those are underneath the side splitters I put on, so they don't work.
Oh.
Oop.
Well.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, as far as why I do snow, I check for oil leaks because they somehow randomly appear and go away. I don't know how.
Yeah.
They just do. Tires are another thing because that car shreds tires. It makes lots of torques. Engine bay stuff with the new engine bay, I gotta keep up on small stuff like that. Trying to keep it clean and put all the stuff back together because nothing is where it should be.
Yeah, that's definitely something you're gonna have to stay ahead of.
What?
Because there's a lot of nooks and crannies. You're keeping
Oh,
the engine bay clean.
Yeah, I've had to do it. Like I literally borrowed Trevor's hot glue gun for like a week and a half to was getting in there.
It's kind of neat that even crazy high horsepower LNFs don't really add maintenance.
Not
the
really.
Maintenance gets harder to do though,
Yeah.
especially on your car.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's no more maintenance. It's just
harder
harder
to do everything. Yeah.
And then it's just my car is just so modified that everything has been touched and there's nothing in the same spot and it's just and stuff.
You can't look up a tutorial on YouTube how to do stuff anymore.
Not really, no.
Uh-oh.
My ATS is far easier to do. I just plugs. That car is just plugs right now, so that car is pretty easy on maintenance. Other than that, it doesn't really do nothing. So, I'll bet the coil over.
The
bad.
maintenance thing is kind of more difficult than I expected with my car because sure, some of it's maintenance, but it's also part of the reason that car exists is because I'm constantly messing with it.
So, but that goes back to the hey, what kind of car am I got? Are you a guy that wants to just drive the car and race it, or do you like because you like to do the maintenance and all the build stuff with it?
Yeah.
You do like to do that.
Well, then it's also cool to set up like we set up the Drag Sonic. It was designed to be the easiest maintainable.
And it was.
Everything you do on it is at least half
Well,
as easy as
I mean,
the
I
top
didn't
one.
really have a choice when he's yeeting second gear every 3 hours.
Hey, you can't give him crap about that. You did the same thing
Once.
in your car. Don't matter. You did it. I got you, Tyler.
Yeah.
I got you.
Quick release
I don't know why.
transmissions.
That reminds me. I got a good controller. Gundam Evolution came out for video games, and if you guys want to play an Overwatch style game, it's fantastic. I've been playing all week. I'm not that great at it, surprisingly, but I want to. I'm trying to get better. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, sidebar.
Aren't we all?
Yep. We have 3 minutes left, so we get like
Rapid fire question.
rapid fire
Weird.
questions. We'll just kind of talk through that. Connor, Ryan, to get that front splitter, did you have to do custom cardboard template then send it to them to make a splitter? Yes, Connor, that's exactly what I did. I did use my custom front bumper, use that template, then put it as track spec for the class I was going for at the time to go there. So yes, that is exactly what I did for APR stuff. So and Ryan Derrick doesn't cheap out on anything. So it's the
I
real
do.
fit.
Mine's Kydex. I'm just saying.
I'm glad we're sitting next to each other just so I can give you the weird looks.
Ryan's splitter looks much more nice than mine does.
Ours is a very fun. So yours is built in your front end too. So different purposes. Different purposes. I have a bunch of professional, awesome stuff and everything. Why don't you come to TOTD? Afraid to catch these hands. Randy likes to try to beat me up, and he scares me.
You too, Bill.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Kish. But yes, unfortunately, I will not be coming to TOTD this weekend. I'm trying to be a responsible adult and pay off bills. I really don't want to, but I need to because if I get further into that, I'm never going to get out of it. So next year, I will be there, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but inflation is rising. So
aware.
you want to get as much debt as you can because then the
That-
debt gets
No.
smaller as the inflation goes
No,
up. I'm
that's-
pretty sure that's how it
No,
works.
that's not how that works at all.
The math seems to check
Oh,
out.
my God. Another big one. Windex the inside of your windshield. Greatly improves sight, especially if you're a smoker.
Or
yeah?
if you get armor all on it.
Yeah. Don't use paper towels. Use newspaper. Weird tip. Use newspaper does not streak like paper towels do, or even microfibers do. Use newspaper.
And you
Yeah.
can read the funnies.
No, they come off with the Windex and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't smoke in a car because I find that I don't want my car smelling like that. Sorry, smokers, I just don't like it.
We've had a couple customer cars that must have been like cloud comp vapors, which, hey, if that's what you like, whatever, I don't care. But when we have to work on your car and there's grease on the inside of the windshield, please clean that off.
That doesn't really come off either. That's like a project.
Yeah.
LE5, any good if boosted? Yes, LE5s are good boosted, but you cannot run a lot of boost because you have high compression stuff unless you build them. They are pretty good. Cranks flex though, 2 liters better, but 2.4s are good. What the F is a newspaper? You are right. Yeah, I forgot. Those probably don't exist anymore.
I did get a random ass one the other day in
Yeah,
the mail,
that's-
and I kept it. I was like, I don't know what I'm.
Did you
used
get the
for.
Hudsonville one?
Maybe that's
Yeah.
what it
I've
was.
seen them in the gas station before and thought, who's buying these?
There's still
Dan,
some old-timers
PCV
out
kit for Sonic in stock date. So guys, I'm just
No
gonna
idea.
I'm gonna give you a blanket statement. If you're asking for ETAs, we don't know either.
Yeah.
As soon as possible. Supply issues, powder coating issues, time delays, everything. We never have good ETAs anymore. Hit the in-stock reminder. You will know probably before either myself or Ashley or
100%.
anybody
That's
up
true.
here will
Yep.
know. So that's for any product. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's air filters.
And
Look on the website.
a lot of them come back in a limited amount, and so many people have that reminder set. It'll
They're
be gone in
gone.
a few minutes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Big facts.
get on that list and buy it right away.
Yep. Or just don't smoke because that's gross. I kind of agree with Randy, but not judging anybody. Get streak-free Windex. Yeah, it still
I've
works
tried
okay.
it. It still streaks.
It still streaks. So
I got the one like with vinegar in it too, or whatever.
yeah,
it
it still streaks.
streaks.
It still streaks, especially like on a cold night. You'll see like the
Yep.
windshield planes, and then want to be all smooshed up. You can't see. You're like, ah,
Like
I
a
can't
person
drive.
like me that drives into the sun on the way home or the way in every
God,
morning and drives
terrible.
into it on the way home every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Will Kiss, we have HP tuners. We have the MPVI 3, the brand spanking new stanky boys on the website right now. You better go and order one right now because they
They'll
are
be sold
flat
out
out.
They're
again.
going out
They are sold out.
quick.
Your car needs 2 credits because you have 3,800. 2 credits.
We just so you guys know, we get as many interfaces as quickly as we can constantly from HB tuners.
I don't know anybody that has the MPVI2 in stock other
Actually
than us
in stock.
because they say that they do, they wait for HP tuners to send them, and they don't send them. We're the only company probably in the Midwest or anywhere in the U.S. that has them. And
Yep.
they're actually the 3s because they don't have 2s anymore.
Yep. Get the HP tuners. Do it. I still need to get my own. I'm just being cheap and not trying to do it. I'm trying maybe before December sometime. Maybe. Hopefully. I need it really bad. My 5 make 400 HP and has i50K miles. Good stuff. Yeah. Adam, you're Adam though. So yeah, you know stuff.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Buy one Sunday is misfiring.
I
Yep.
think I may know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you know, you've seen that. It was literally came here with it. I need that. Yep. Interceptor's coming back into stock. Connor, just like we just told you, brother. We don't know. Aeroforce is actually out of stock of those, so that's on Aeroforce. Also, they stopped including their aluminum C brackets with it, so people got to make the C brackets. Yeah, it's so
that
it's
does make
so
no
weird.
sense.
Yeah, like they say they can't find suppliers for it. Like it's a C bracket of
Ding, ding, ding.
yeah,
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding.
yeah. So there was
Remind me Tuesday.
yeah. Let's see. I got my 150. Yep. But yeah, guys. So I think like a few more questions. If you got them, get them out real quick. Because I got to go get a controller because my controller started. I can't play Gundam Evolution because the left trigger.
Oh.
It's not sticking, but like the internal magnet's broken.
Sounds like something that someone's losing would say.
Oh yeah, I get stewed. My win percentage when I was like 28%.
I bet that
it is not
flute dude would smoke you.
probably. He beat my dude. I am not good at that game, but I
Y'all
really
seen
want
the
to.
video where the dude's playing like Call of Duty or something by playing a recorder?
That's so.
That's wild.
Yeah, people are nuts.
Good job, guy.
Yeah, good job, whoever you are.
I got to get out of here too, so let's just close it out. If you
Yeah.
have more questions,
How do I make
see us next
my
week.
F-35 trans last a while? You get an F-40. Answer.
Or
There
you
go.
just you convert your car to NA?
Yeah, no, even then it might not last because the design is so messed up.
Or you just do what that other customer did and run 215 all seasons. Then you never have enough traction to break it.
That's another question. That's nothing right there. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go and play Gundam stuff all weekend. I hope to see you guys. I'm going to see a movie tonight, and they're going to see Monster Trucks tonight, and then play D&D tomorrow. Okay, bye.
Bye, have a good one.
Bye.
Like how Ryan just did his weekend plans just because.